Not playing the victim. I'm not gonna be anybody's bitch. I'm nobody's victim. Like, them all. Them all.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It is another day and another 90-day tell-all, so let's get right into it. So we learned that Julia had not only cheated on Brandon once, but twice with two different guys, and they left us with asking how far she went with the second guy.
I kissing him. I'll be kissing. Oh God.
What?
Why this is pretty fucked up of Julia, I mean, they were actively in a relationship. He was filing for the K-1 visa. He felt like they had this immediate connection, and she clearly didn't.
Well, yeah, took you long enough.
Personally, I just can't bring myself to care too much about their relationship anymore. I feel like they're kind of running its course, and I just don't find it that interesting. Brandon is really annoying. His parents are really annoying. They have their good points, don't get me wrong, but I just find other people more interesting. I do love that Jasmine is just trying to find out all the details.
Or French kiss.
Jasmine.
I wanna know.
That makes two of us.
See, it's always stuff like that that pulls me back in with Jasmine. She just always is so funny to me. But also, it was French kissing. She wouldn't feel the need to confess it if it was just like little pecks here and there.
Darling, you found me. A sweet.
So Julia saying at this time in their relationship they had had a huge fight and he had left Russia, and she was actually thinking that they weren't together, that they were done. But in Brandon's perspective, they just had a fight. That was it. They weren't done. So she says that's why this happened.
Huh? Okay.
And Brandon isn't disagreeing. He's not saying that that didn't happen and that there wasn't like full clarity on both sides. So this very well could be true. And they ask Brandon's parents on what they think of the situation and what they think Brandon should do. And for once, they are kind of on Julia's side.
Gotta put it behind you.
I agree. Move forward and recommit your love.
His feelings are valid for being hurt, obviously, but I don't know. I just feel like he's going overboard with it. And obviously even his parents agree. His mom said at that time they didn't even know if the K-1 visa was going to go through. And he didn't say that there wasn't clarity on both sides. They weren't entirely clear on if they were together or not. And I feel like if he felt like they were, he would have said that in that moment. But Sean asks if he feels that she should apologize to him, and he says yes. So she gets up to go and hug him and apologize, and then he won't even stand up.
You stand up. She's
I'm lazy.
I'm not trying to help you.
He just seems kind of annoyed and embarrassed by her about half the time, and that kind of bugs me, because Julia seems like a fun and loving person. Yes, she made a mistake, but it was very early on. It was in a rocky part of their relationship, and it seems like she's admitting it now because it's obviously been weighing on her. Sean does eventually ask him, do you trust Julia in this moment? And he says no. But, Julie says, are you ever going to get over this? And they just said he just needs time. And she understands that. She understands that he's going to need some time. And we'll just have to see how this goes. And then they move on to Sophie and Rob. And of course, the first thing we have to talk about is her boobs.
I like your dress. It's because I've got these incredible boobs to fill it out.
Like, cool. You got a check from 90 days and you went and got them done. Congratulations. I don't really care, but everyone else seems to care a lot. They've mentioned her boobs quite a few times already during the last episode and this episode.
I feel like she's trying to be her best version of herself now.
A revenge buddy.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm not overreacting. I'm doing what any reasonable person would do in this situation.
I'm lemonading.
So before they went on stage, Sophie showed Rob her boobs. And that's what Sean was asking, like, do you think she did it on purpose? And he thinks so. He thinks she's, oh, look what you can't have, because I guess they're no longer hooking up. They were hooking up for a little bit and now they're not. And he does feel like she waited till after they stopped hooking up to get them done, just to kind of show off.
Tell me I'm pretty. You're pretty? Say it again!
And Stacy doesn't agree. She's like, you feel good, so of course you want to show him off to people. But the way Sophie is smiling when he was saying this, that she was just trying to show off what he can't have, I'm like, yeah, that's why. That's why. Like, probably not the entire reason why she got her boobs done, but it's definitely why she showed him her boobs there. Unless she plans on hooking up with him later, which, the way those two have been smiling at each other, I wouldn't be surprised.
I said a bang, bang, bangity bang. I said a bang, bang, bangity bang. A bang, 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 bangity bang. I said a bang, bang, bangity bang. Bang, 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 bang,
So they had a pretty dramatic breakup on The Last Resort. So it was surprising to people when they said that they had been hooking up. So of course Sean asked how that happened, and Disney brought them together.
I went on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Is that in Disney? I'm not sure.
They went on a trip to Disneyland. I guess it is a magical place. And they didn't start hooking up then, but Sophie said everything just went so well. She just felt like she was getting all the things from a relationship that she wanted. It was months later when they came to New York to film Between the Sheets that they started hooking up.
It was really good, and we had sex like for months.
So according to them, they have since stopped having sex for the last couple months because it was starting to happen so frequently that they both were starting to get feelings of getting back together, even though they know that that was not going to be good for them in the long run. So they both made the decision to stop.
Sure, Jan.
So they both did make attempts to date other people. Sophie got a little jealous because the girl he tried to go out with was also British. But Sophie's story of attempting to date is much funnier, and he kind of pushes her into telling it. Well, he ends up telling it.
The guy she dated was the baby father of the girl she dated.
Your thoughts?
What? What? Who?
But I didn't know.
She didn't know it.
I didn't know. I had no idea.
How did that happen?
So Sean asks if they do plan on getting a divorce, and Sophie and Rob both say yes.
I think once we are divorced, we can fully move on. But
Sophie feels that it is going to be best if they get a divorce and they no longer speak, so they both can start moving on properly. Even though she knows both of them are going to find that really hard because, she said she still feels the need to call him when something happens and still feels that, connection to him. So she just really feels that that divorce is going to be the final, okay, we're done. Let's move on.
Closing time.
And then they bring up some allegations that, guess who? Jasmine brings up from Between the Sheets about Sophie.
Sophie had sugar daddy.
who said that?
She told someone and that person told me.
So they just straight up asked Sophie, do you have a sugar daddy?
My 93-year-old sugar dad.
What?
He's actually turning 94 this year.
Wait, what?
Is it a joke?
Yes, it's a joke.
Oh,
Okay, well, my sarcasm is very strong because I'm English.
But yes, it's true.
The relief on Rob's face is just great for me. He was stressed during her little bit there, which I thought was pretty funny.
That's right.
Of course, they ask where Jasmine got this information, and she says it's a secret, but this sets Rob off. So Rob says that she actually got that information from him. So I guess during the last resort, he was comforting her while she was crying, and they got to talking, and she asked him how Sophie makes money since she wasn't living with him, and he said he didn't know.
Oh, so Sophie doesn't live with you? I said, no, she hasn't lived with me in a while. She said, how does she pay for things? I said, I don't really know.
I don't know, Margot.
She said, you think she has a sugar daddy? I said, I don't know how she pays for things, but I don't know.
I do not know that answer right now, but I will do everything in my power to get that information for you.
So Rob and Jasmine get into a little tiff again.
You're
I think your marriage. Oh my.
Everyone but Rob ruined my marriage.
Interesting.
I find it funny that Sophie is not seeming that upset with Jasmine at all, even though Jasmine is the one who spread these rumors. And, you know, she made that little comment like, oh, everyone but Rob ruined our marriage. And so, I don't know, I find that weird.
That was a little weird.
But before things get too out of hand, Sean shuts it down and says everyone's going on a break. And while eating lunch, Julia tries to lighten the mood a little bit.
This city has been plagued by crime and bad sex.
This city has been plagued by crime and bad sex.
It's not illegal, it's frowned upon, like masturbating on an airplane.
There's a new name to deliver justice.
It's a new name delivered to justice. By sex woman. Acting, that was great.
And then Jasmine makes a phone call to Matt while hiding in the bathroom, I think. I think she may have her own little section or something.
Gino agreed to the open marriage.
Not really. Maybe. It's classified.
So he's trying to get like the guys to be together on his side. Like a giant piece
I'm so not.
I find it interesting that they're both just like, well, he agreed to the open marriage when he only agreed under duress. He only agreed because Jasmine basically said if he didn't, she was going to end things. And one of the main things that he said, actually one of the only rules he had set for it, was practice safe sex.
Safety is sexy.
They didn't want any diseases or babies to happen, which is exactly what happened. So, sorry, Jasmine, like, you can try to gaslight everyone as much as you want. You know, you did coerce him into this open marriage. You gave him the ultimatum, and not only that, but you gave him the ultimatum that it had to be with Matt, that it couldn't be with anybody else.
That's the fact, Jack! That's the fact, Jack!
So they come back to the stage and they shift the focus to Stacy and Florian. Now, Stacy says after they recommitted and they got back from the resort, things were really good. They seem to be vibing, but months has passed and things have been really rocky for the past few months. And Florian agrees, but he said that he felt like the therapy helped her, but it didn't help him because he doesn't believe in therapy.
I did it for her, so I don't believe in therapists. I never believe to all stranger people to come to me for the paycheck to talk to me.
So, I don't know. The statement really bugs me because I feel like it's just him admitting that he's not willing to see anyone's point of view but his own, and that anyone else really can't have a second opinion on the situation. Like, only his opinion matters.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Maybe I'm reading way too much into that, but like that's basically what therapy is. It's another person to look at yourself and your situation and to help you like organize things, organize your thoughts, and to learn how to deal with things. To me, it's just like a second pair of eyes, you know, a trained second pair of eyes, you know, but it's just like when you're, you know, you're working on something and you're staring at it constantly and you can only see the big things, but a person with a fresh pair of eyes comes and is like, hey, look at this little thing. Sorry, I'm rambling a bit here, but I don't know. I just feel like saying like you don't believe in therapy. I could understand if he was like, I think it's too expensive and maybe hyped up a little bit too much. Sure, but just to say straight out you don't believe in it, just to me feels like you don't think that anyone else's opinion could matter and anyone else could give you a second look on things. I'm rambling a bit, so sorry if that didn't come out very clear. Hopefully you get what I mean though.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
If I put in the work and the effort, then we're good.
No bad idea.
Wow.
You know, I thought he was kidding at first, but he just kind of sat there. He didn't really be like, I'm just kidding. He didn't really say anything else. So it's like, okay then. So they have been fighting pretty much daily, and it's over little things. And Stacy opens up that she feels like he doesn't really like her and that he doesn't really want to be around her, and that they actually haven't been having sex for about 3 or 4 months.
You know, and he doesn't initiate sex. I'm, you know, not really initiating it either.
Mm-hmm. I find this funny because if you remember during the season, he just kept telling Gino, just fuck your wife, just fuck your wife. And now here he is in the same situation.
Karma got his kids for me.
Well, to be fair, not exactly the same. Gino was the one saying no, and Jasmine was pretty much begging. In this, Stacy said both of them have just kind of just stopped. And Stacy does admit to going through menopause right now, which is probably why her emotions are all over the place and the libido's down. And, you know, it's just a lot of changes for her right now. And Florian does not know anything about menopause.
Tell us what you know about menopause.
I know how cool for menopause.
Biology lesson. Go, Florian.
In fact, Sean asks all the men what they know about menopause.
I mean, can you?
Frank, you're gonna menopause right now if you close your mouth.
And no one really knows anything, which I don't find that surprising, but I do find pretty funny. So they show clips from the season of Florian getting into multiple fights with multiple people, and they ask, Florian, do you think you have an anger problem? And he doesn't think so.
Just in the poke the bear, you're good to go.
Yeah, so other people really have control over how you react, right?
Yeah, other people like to trick my fun, to trick me, like leave me alone.
So according to Florian, everybody else needs to be aware of his triggers and to just leave him alone. It's not up to him to regulate his emotions and to not cause a scene or anything like that. It's up to everybody else. If he was saying like, hey, I'm getting really overwhelmed or I'm feeling very triggered right now, can you please leave me alone and we can discuss this later? That's fine. But basically he's just saying, don't fuck with me and I won't get mad. That's it. I don't have anger issues. It's everybody else's problem.
You called her a chihuahua, but I get called the bitch and the hoe and all that.
Wow.
Ari actually speaks up and comes to Stacy's defense and says, yes, you do have anger issues and you treat her like crap.
Oh, you worry about my life.
You treat Stacy like crap and she deserves better than that.
That's exactly the answer I wanted.
Yeah, he even got triggered by her saying that and was starting to get upset. So I think everyone else is right. You do have some anger issues, but he can't see past himself because it's everyone else's problem. And I can see how that can be very frustrating for Stacy to deal with. Even Gina, who's been his little sidekick this whole time, was like, I do think you have some anger issues. I love you, but yeah. And even Josh said that he needs to work on his soft touch towards Stacy in particular. He said he feels that he's very direct, but he needs to be softer with her.
Just being considerate.
So obviously a big issue in their relationship was Darcy, Stacy's twin sister. Stacy feels like Darcy is too dependent on Florian and gets even kind of jealous of the relationship, even though Darcy is married to a guy named Georgie. So of course they bring Darcy out and it's a shocker. It's a shocker seeing her face. I'm just, yeah.
The diva arrived. You looking good. You look hot. Looking snatched.
Woo! Oh my gosh, look at Trace.
Okay, so like plastic surgery, you know, that's a personal choice and I think it's up to everyone. You do you. And Stacy obviously has also had a lot of work done, but oh my God, Darcy, that's way too far. Girl. Why? So let's just have a small moment before we proceed to remember Darcy's old face. Okay, I'm just going to give a quick summary of Darcy's part because there isn't that much and I imagine they're going to talk more in the next episode. So the big thing was that Darcy calls Florian at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. They seem very close. And obviously when Stacy and Florian's relationship is on the rocks, she's going to feel jealous.
Duh.
Darcy's reasoning behind this is that Stacy didn't seem as available or like she wanted to listen, and her and Florian became very close, and she sees him as a brother, and I get that. I get those vibes, but I really do understand Stacy's view. I do think that, you know, calling that late and wanting him to go out all the time, I do think that's crossing a line, especially when you know that their relationship is not doing well at this point. It's great that they have a brother-sister relationship, but at this point, you do need to look at Stacy and Florian's and be like, okay, they need to work on them. I need to back off.
Like I wanted, and, you know, I don't really call Georgie the way she calls Florian, and so I kind of like take offense to that.
Yeah.
You know what? That's okay. I get it.
And saying, you know, oh, she's better off single, so obviously we're talking about
That's why when you were bitching and screaming and yelling and moaning and groaning one night
No,
we were
no,
together
that's-
hanging out, and I'm like,
that's
"What
Oh, that's not very nice.
it's the same you say to me in my relationship with Georgie. Why are you still married to Georgie? You should get a divorce."
They asked Georgie if Stacy should trust Florian fully, because he has cheated in the past, and he had called at the resort saying that he had saw him leaving with a couple girls, and it was a whole thing. According to him, he just walked them home from the bar. That was it.
Maybe not. I don't think 100%.
And I don't think I totally disagree with him on this one. It's a hard one to judge, if I'm being honest. I could see Florian cheating again. I could, unfortunately. Anyway, guys, that is all I have for this video. If you made it to the end, thank you so much. It was a long one. I hope you guys have a great day wherever you are, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Yeah.